Greetings to all of you. In this issue, we'll look at the contributions of African Americans to World War II, heroes whose contributions often go unnoticed. We'll talk about their unique trials, triumphs, and contributions both on the front and the home front. Subscribe to the channel, give us likes, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us cover these important stories. Together, let's learn more about those who fought not only for country, but for their rights. The Great Migration.
The Great Migration, a large-scale movement of African Americans from southern states to the industrial centers of the North, began in 1916 and peaked during World War II. This period was a time of significant social change, as millions sought a better life away from the segregated South. The war industry offered new job opportunities for both men and women who entered fields traditionally considered masculine. Rosa Parks, for example, worked as a seamstress in a military plant in Alabama before becoming a symbol of the civil rights movement. However, mass relocation also exacerbated racial tensions, leading to events such as the Detroit riots of 1943, where conflicts between black and white workers escalated to violent clashes that resulted in numerous deaths and destruction.
761st Tank Battalion Black Panthers.
The 761st Tank Battalion, also known as the Black Panthers, was formed in 1942. This battalion was one of the first all-African American combat units in the U.S. Army. Trained at Fort Knox, they distinguished themselves in a number of major operations in Europe, including the famous Battle of the Ardennes. The battalion commander, Captain Charles Thomas, continued to lead his units despite his wounds, for which he later received the Silver Star. The battalion's combat achievements helped change the perception of African American soldiers in the Army and American society, spurring the abolition of racial segregation in the military.
The Ice Road.
The Ice Road, created to transport resources to the Soviet Union during the war, was one of the most ambitious projects of the time. African American engineers working in the extreme conditions of the Arctic were at the center of this massive operation. They built roads and bridges across frozen rivers, set up airfields, and ensured the smooth delivery of vital supplies. These efforts not only strengthened the Allied relationship between the U.S. and the USSR, but also demonstrated the incredible courage and resourcefulness of African American soldiers.
Tuskegee Airmen.
The Tuskegee Airmen, trained at Alabama Air Force Base, exceeded all expectations, becoming some of the most respected pilots of World War II. These men flew more than 15,000 combat sorties, defending Allied bombers from enemy attacks, playing a crucial role in the air war over Europe. They received several high honors and became a symbol of breaking down racial barriers in the Army. Their successes served as an important argument in favor of the desegregation of the armed forces, formally initiated by President Truman in 1948.
Contributions of African American women.
The 6,888th Postal Service Battalion, the only all-female African American battalion sent overseas, managed millions of pieces of mail in wartime Europe. Under the command of Major Charity Adams, these women not only eliminated significant delays in mail delivery, but also demonstrated outstanding organizational ability and professionalism. Their motto, "No delays, no exceptions," came to symbolize their effectiveness. These women's contributions to the war effort not only improved soldier morale, but also proved their ability to handle critical tasks on an equal footing with men.
Contributions to the medical service.
Huge contributions to the medical service were made by African American medical professionals. Dr. Charles Drew, an African American scientist, played a revolutionary role in developing blood storage systems and creating the first blood banks, which saved thousands of lives during the war. Also worth mentioning are nurses like Dolores Margaret Strode Jordan of the Army Nurse Corps, who served overseas and provided critical medical services in wartime conditions. These women, working under harsh conditions, not only saved lives but also fought racial prejudice, showing exceptional skill and humanity.
Military musicians and entertainment.
Music and entertainment played an invaluable role in maintaining morale among the troops. African-American musicians, such as legendary jazz performer Louis Armstrong and blues singer Etta James, participated in USO shows performing for the troops. Their performances not only entertained the soldiers, but also served as a powerful tool in fighting racial segregation by emphasizing the importance and influence of African-American culture. These musicians brought comfort and joy to many who fought for democracy abroad, while at home they themselves faced segregation and discrimination.
Fighting for military rights.
Within the military ranks, African Americans also fought vigorously for their rights and dignity. The protests at Freeman Field Base in 1945, where African American airmen, led by Officer Roger Terry, refused to obey segregationist rules, were a significant event in the struggle for equality. The men were arrested for their beliefs, but their actions caused widespread public outcry and helped change segregationist policies in the military. This case, along with other protests, prompted President Harry Truman to order the desegregation of the armed forces in 1948.
Civil rights in the military.
During World War II, African Americans not only fought against fascism abroad, but also continued to fight for their rights within the U.S. Army. An example of this struggle is the story of Percy Sutton, who served in the Army as a scout with the Tuskegee Airmen. After the war, Sutton became a prominent civil rights activist and politician, actively opposing racial segregation. His efforts, along with those of many other veterans, were one of the catalysts for the civil rights movement that gained momentum in the post-war years. Also noteworthy was the work of A. Philip Randolph, who organized a march on Washington in 1941 to protest discriminatory hiring practices in the defense industry, leading to the issuance of President Roosevelt's executive order banning discrimination on the basis of race, religion, and national origin in the defense industries.
Scientific and technological advances.
African Americans also made significant contributions to scientific and technological advances that were critical to the war effort during World War II. One remarkable example is Dr. Frederick Jones, an engineer and inventor who developed portable refrigeration units to store blood, medicine, and food in the field. His inventions played a key role in saving lives on the front lines. It is also important to mention Benjamin O. Davis Sr., who became the first African-American brigadier general in the U.S. Army. His leadership in overcoming wartime racial barriers not only inspired many, but also paved the way for more equal opportunities for African Americans in science and technology.
African Americans in the intelligence services.
The contributions of African Americans in the U.S. intelligence services during World War II were invaluable, though rarely mentioned in traditional historical narratives. These men and women not only fought on the front lines, but also played crucial roles in encryption and decryption that contributed significantly to Allied success. One prime example is the work of African American women in the U.S. Cipher Division. In this department, women such as Anne Carroll Moore were trained in the complex art of cryptanalysis, working with encrypted enemy messages. Their job was to decipher intercepted codes and ciphers, which required outstanding analytical skills and patience. Their contributions were critical, especially in the context of intelligence gathering in North Africa and the Pacific Theater, where accurate and timely intelligence could save thousands of lives. In addition, African Americans also participated in various language units such as the Japanese and German sections of the Intelligence Division. For example, Vernon J. Baker, who later became one of the first African Americans to be awarded the Medal of Honor, began his career in the Army as an Italian interpreter. His knowledge and skills were essential in the task of intercepting and translating important intelligence, which also included interrogating prisoners of war and translating captured documents. These little-known heroes played a key role in providing a strategic advantage to the Allies, applying their unique skills and knowledge to support military operations. Their stories deserve recognition and respect because they not only transcended the barriers of race and gender in their professional fields, but also contributed significantly to Allied victory.
Conclusion. Today, we have highlighted only a few aspects of the significant contributions of African Americans to the World War II effort. Their stories are narratives of courage, determination, and the pursuit of equality that contributed significantly to the outcome of the war and subsequent social change in the United States. Thank you for your attention to these important stories. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about the heroic acts that shape our society. Help spread the word about the importance of their contributions. Thanks for watching, and see you all again.